welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first video of mine you are seeing, then welcome. I've been wanting to film this video for a while, but I kept pushing it further and further back because other things would come along that I'd want to film about instead. But the more I pushed it back, the more I saw some of my favorite creators do this video, and I thought that since my makeup preferences have been changing lately, I thought it'd be a good time to do this video now. And basically I want to discuss 10 makeup products that I'm no longer buying. I have a little note right here that I made in my phone where I just kept adding to it, but really it was pretty straightforward. I kind of already knew of some products that could definitely be added to this list that I don't need to purchase anymore simply because I know I would never get proper use out of them because they just don't fit what my preferences are now. The first thing I want to mention are very colorful eyeshadow palettes, and that's basically more along the lines of rainbow eyeshadow palettes. You know, those palettes that don't have any neutrals in them whatsoever to kind of help ground them a little bit more. I know there's a palette from ColourPop, I believe it's called the Fade into Hue palette. I know they have that one that's a rainbow palette. They also have one that's an all matte rainbow palette as well. Those are what I really am talking about because I just don't wear a lot of colorful eyeshadows. And if I do wear color or buy a palette that has some color in it, I would much prefer it to have some neutral tones in it to kind of help ground that color a little bit, because for me now, I don't want a full-on colorful look. I'd rather have some neutrals mixed in too and just like maybe a pop of color. And that's not me saying that I'll never wear color again, of course, by me saying I'm not going to buy these palettes. I absolutely will, but it's definitely going to be more in a muted way, which is what I have been doing lately. I just would prefer to make color more wearable, I guess you can say, but now all makeup is wearable no matter what. If you put it on your face, it's wearable. But when I say that, I'm mostly referring to the everyday person who has to go to a job or school or anything like that where they can't wear that type of makeup. And that's kind of the looks I've been going for anyway. I just love neutral makeup. Clearly from what I'm wearing right here, I just love the neutral stuff. I know it might be very boring, but it's what I like. It's what makes me feel the most pretty. It's just my favorite, and I just want to specifically focus on more neutral stuff going forward. But that's not, but I probably will maybe continue buying a palette that might have some color in it, but it's definitely not going to be an all color. And like the whole palette is colorful. I would rather it have like a mixture of some color and then some neutrals to kind of help balance it out some. The next product I'm no longer buying kind of fits in with the first thing. Very dark or smoky color stories in eyeshadow palettes. I already know I do not wear a lot of dark eyeshadow. I just don't. I just tend to wear more on the more softer side of makeup, and then if I do add like a little touch of depth like what I'm wearing here, this is more of like a mid-tone for my skin tone. Now that is not me saying that I don't want a palette to have depth. I mean specifically those palettes that are made to be for a very smoky, a very grungy eyeshadow look. Kind of for example would be the Natasha Denona Xenon palette, the one that she released last year, where it's all like blacks and grays and like I think some navies mixed into. That is kind of what I mean when I say an all smoky or really dark color story, as well as the palettes that Glamlight released around Halloween last year, like the Ghostface palette or Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, their palettes. I know good and well I would never use those palettes. They are very dark, smoky, grungy color stories. I just don't use shades like that, so they would definitely have no room in my collection. And also for those, I am not a fan of horror stuff. I just don't really like that kind of thing. So I definitely know that those palettes would have never suited me. I think they were amazing in how they were presented. Like they really knocked it out with the packaging. Like that was some amazing packaging, but that kind of stuff I know that would definitely not be for me. The next one would be contour products. Now I will say that I don't really buy a lot of contour products now, but prior to starting my YouTube channel I would keep buying some in hopes that I could make them work for me, and I never could. But now I am definitely not a professional makeup artist. I am self-taught. Everything that I've ever learned has been right here on YouTube watching tutorials. That's it. I have never done any kind of schooling or anything for makeup. So that probably was more along something I was doing than the actual contour product, but I just don't really like the way they look on me. I don't know if it's just because I prefer more of a little bit more of a warmth or even a neutral in my products. That might be because I have a warm undertone, and like those really, really cool tone products just don't really look the greatest on me, or maybe I just don't think they do. But either way, those are products that I tend to avoid. And even with like bronzer and stuff, if you've watched my videos in the past, you know that I only keep bronzer like right here. And then right in here is just blush. I never bring bronzer in this section. I just prefer that to be a blushy look. And some days I go even without bronzer. So I definitely know that I don't need contour products in my makeup collection. I think the only contour product I have right now is one from e.l.f. It is one of their like Halo Glow beauty ones, the contour one. But for my skin tone, that looks to be more of a neutral bronzer than it does a contour, an actual contour product. So I'm fine with having that one in my collection. I think that one's nice. I actually like the tone of that one because it's not too gray. It looks more of like a neutral on me. But those really grayish contour products, I just don't like the way they look on me. So going forward, I already know if it says contour, it's definitely not for me. Eyeliners, that would definitely be the next one. If you've watched some of my everyday makeup drawer videos in the past, you'll know that I'll always try to include an eyeliner and then I never get any use out of it. So I had recently gone through all of them and I decluttered every single colorful eyeliner I had. I only kept the more neutral ones. I am wearing an eyeliner today. This is ColourPop's Creme Gel Liner in the shade Peach Fuzz. I don't believe Peach Fuzz still exists. I think that might have been like a shade they had with a particular collection, but I think the shade Honey Dude is kind of similar to this. This is the type of eyeliner that if I wear it, it would probably what I'm going for. I've included this one in my everyday makeup drawer for the month of April, and I am definitely trying to use it. I have been using it consistently for about every day. Like every time I've done my makeup, I have included it, which I'm pretty proud of that because usually I never wear eyeliner. And I was holding on to those colorful eyeliners for so long because I would say, oh, well, you know, I might wear them for an Instagram look or, you know, maybe do a colorful look and then use up that pop of color in the waterline. I don't do that. I used to do those types of looks on my Instagram, like I do a lot more colorful looks. I don't do that anymore. My Instagram now is more so me showing neutral makeup like what I'm wearing here today. Or I've also been including a lot more reels over there where I'm trying out products or I'm including swatches or showing stuff like that. So I'm not doing those like up close shots of my eye anymore with just really colorful, bold looks. I think those are pretty. I love to see other people do that and see their looks, but it's just not my preference any longer. And I know that I'm not going to get any use out of eyeliners. And in this category, I'm also including liquid liners. I do not use liquid liner. The only time I would ever use it in the past was when I wore like false eyelashes and then I would put it just right here on the inner corner to make that band kind of blend in more with like my eye. Other than that, I never wore them and they would get absolutely no use out of me. So moving forward, I already know. No more colorful eyeliners. I would make exceptions for some eyeliners if they were maybe like more on the neutral side, like what I'm wearing here or maybe a brown. Other than that, no more eyeliners. Face palettes is the next one, and the only exception I will say will be the Hourglass palettes. And in particular, the ones they release around the holidays, if they continue releasing the ones with the animals, as long as I am able, I will purchase those because I love them. I think they are well worth the money if, and only if, you know that you're going to use each shade in the palettes, because I know that if you're not, then they might not be worth it because they are very expensive. But if they are something that I feel like you get a lot of use out of, I think they're worth every penny. I love them. And I love, I guess you might want to say collecting. I don't know if that's the right word, but I love the ones with the animals. I love knowing that so much is donated to like these animal organizations. I just love that. So if they continue making the animal face palettes, I probably, if I'm able, to continue purchasing those. But any other face palettes, I don't need to do that because I always would force myself to include a face palette in my everyday makeup drawer and then I'd have to just pretty much make myself use it because I always want to reach for single products, whether it's a single blush, highlighter, bronzer. I don't ever want to reach for a face palette. Now, I will use the Hourglass ones if I include them. But other than that, I don't. See, I have one included right now in this everyday makeup drawer for this month. I've used it once, and that was on camera for the Get Ready With Me that I did. I already know going forward, I don't need to buy a face palette. I know that I'm not going to use them. I love the idea of them, but I know I'm not going to get enough use out of it, so I don't need to be purchasing those any longer. The next one, any lipsticks that are not nude shades. And basically what I mean is I do not want to buy reds. I don't wear red lipstick. I have a couple of red shades in my collection right now, or maybe about 2 of them or 3. I never wear them. I might wear a red lip once a year if I even do that. And I just know that about myself, so I don't need to be purchasing any reds unless it's maybe like a gloss that's a sheer red, but I'm specifically talking about bullet lipsticks when I mention this, or liquid lipsticks, but I don't buy liquid lipsticks anyway. I'm just not a fan of those. But I know I'm not going to wear shades like that. And also really deep toned lipsticks, like I know they make dark blue, they make dark green, they make black lipsticks. I already know that I would definitely get no use out of any lipstick like that. I think they're so pretty on other people, but I know myself, I know I would never use them. What I'm wearing right here is basically what I wear on an everyday basis, this type of tone. That's all I wear. I just know that I would never use those types of lip products. So going forward, no colorful or really deep toned lipsticks. The next one was fairly simple, eyeshadow primers. I have already found the most perfect eyeshadow primer in my collection, and that is the Milani eyeshadow primer. I already know that that's my perfect eyeshadow primer. I use it every single day, no matter what I'm wearing, no matter what look I'm doing. I am always applying that one. And even in the past, I've tried drugstore options, I've tried high-end options, and then what I'll do is like put the Milani on one side and then put the other on the other. And the Milani one either always outperforms or does just as well as. So moving forward, I don't need to be constantly trying out new eyeshadow primers. I found one that is perfect and it's affordable and it's right there at Walmart that I can pick it up whenever I need. It's perfect. It's the only one that I ever need in my collection. The next one I was kind of torn on because I had originally said false eyelashes. Don't buy any more false eyelashes. But I know a day will come where I do probably want to wear a false eyelash again. So I changed it to dramatic false eyelashes. The ones that are really huge and fluffy and like really long false eyelashes. I know I'm not going to wear those because for me, for my eye shape, so if I kind of look forward and relax, you can see that I have a little bit like a fold right here. Just a little, it's minor. If I wear those big lashes, they cover the eyeshadow look, and that's not what I'm trying to do. And I've also been really into just mascara looks now, especially brown mascara. I have not been able to pull myself away from brown. In fact, all 4, I think I have 4 mascaras open right now. Every single one of them are in a brown shade. I wish every makeup company that makes a mascara would also make it in a brown shade. If they have it in a black shade, please make it in a brown shade because it's probably what I would buy for the rest of my life. But I just want to wear mascara right now. But I know that at some point I probably would like to throw on maybe a little lash, but I'd want it to be as more natural, I guess you can say, that kind of helps give what I naturally have a little bit more oomph to them. And I do have a few pairs that I think are perfect for that. They work really well. They look fairly, I won't, maybe natural is not the right word, but maybe you know what I mean. They're just not overly dramatic. They're very simple. And that's the type of false eyelash I like if I'm going to wear them. I already know those big giant lashes are just not for me. They just cover my whole eye, and really by the end of the day, they get uncomfortable on me. I just find that they start to kind of weigh down, like on your lash line. I just feel like they're just a little too much for me. So moving forward, no more dramatic false eyelashes. Just if I buy them, they're going to be some little simple natural ones. But honestly, I have a whole little container over there filled with them. I don't really need to be buying any anytime soon anyway. The next one definitely come easy. I knew no more full coverage foundations. I just don't like them. I don't like heavy product like that on my skin. I much prefer skin tints or BB creams or any product like that, tinted moisturizers, whichever you want to call them. I feel like that's kind of interchangeable terminology for those types of products. That's all I want to wear. In fact, I'm wearing the little skin, I think they call it the Skin Essence from CoverGirl, the one with the little beads in it. I'm wearing that today. I love that. I love that product so much. I don't even feel it on my face. But with full coverage foundations, I do feel them. They just feel heavy, especially by the end of the day. I just can't wait to get them off my face. And I'm kind of at a point in my life where I don't really want to hide my natural skin. I used to feel like I had to hide every little, imperfection in my skin, whether it was a pimple, an acne scar, whatever it might be, redness. I used to struggle a lot more with redness in my skin. I felt like I had to cover it up. I don't feel that way any longer. I just don't. I just feel like, the older I get, the less I care about stuff like that. I just would prefer something that just kind of, really evens me out a little bit, but not really covers, because I'm just not looking for that now. I love these lightweight products. They just make me feel better about myself. And I feel like if there's someone around that is criticizing your skin for whether you have a pimple or whatever it might be on your face, are they really people that you want to have around? And that's the way I look at it. If somebody criticizes something on my face like that I can't help, I just don't think that, they're people you want around anyway. I want to wear products that make me feel good about my skin. Whether you can see any acne I have, I struggle with hormonal acne. In here, I have a lot of breakouts. I have a lot of under the skin bumps and stuff. I have that. And I know these skin tints don't cover it. They don't cover it. They don't hide it. And yes, sometimes I get a little embarrassed about it, but at the same time, it's just something that happens. I have hormonal acne. It's something that happens. It's something that I have to deal with. But I just know full coverage foundations just aren't for me. I think there is definitely a time and place that I would want one, whether I don't really be in events like weddings or anything like that where I would have to have my photo taken, but I think for those types of occasions I would have a full coverage foundation, but for the most part the fullest of coverage I would ever want would be a medium, and probably more so a light medium. That's just what I'm looking for these days, and it's definitely what I prefer. The last one are very intense or colorful highlighters. I already know that any highlighter that has that shifty stuff, like whether they're green or they're blue or they're purple, I would never wear them. And really, those don't really work for my skin tone anyway. I just feel like they don't really look good on me. I don't really like them. I know some brands have those types where they have like a clear base or something, so the shade or the color of the highlighter will work on everybody. So I can't speak for that. I've never tried a highlighter like that before, but I have had some in the past that had like a green tint or a blue tint to them, or purple. And I would never wear that. I would never wear that. I think they look amazing on other people who want to wear them, but for me, they're just not what I'm looking for. I much prefer a natural highlighter if I'm going to wear it, and for the most part, I don't wear highlighter. There are many days where I just skip it. And see, even like today, now there is some glow in my skin, but that's not a highlighter. It's just that CoverGirl product kind of peeking through because I'm wearing like a matte blush today. My favorite highlighter that I own in my collection is from Merit. It is one of their little like highlighting balm, like the little sticks, and mine's in the shade Kava. That is my favorite highlighter because it looks like your skin is just lit from within. It just looks so natural. It's perfect. It's everything I could ever want in a highlighter, and that's what I am looking for. I did do a highlighter declutter probably a couple of months ago now. Well, I'm not sure how long ago it was. I kept more than I should have, if I'm being entirely honest. I kept a lot more than I should have. And if I really could, I probably would really only have that Merit highlighting stick in my collection, and that would be it. I would love to maybe find a powder version that kind of gives me that similar effect, but just be a powder so I can just have, those interchangeably. But that Merit one is perfect enough as it is. I like that one a lot. I don't ever struggle with it. I definitely don't want those very blinding highlighters either. It's not for me. It's not something that I'm looking for. I much prefer a more subtle glow if I'm going to have a highlighter, which is one of the reasons why I don't really wear it much anyway. I just kind of let my other products shine through it, because more often than not, skin tints and products like that are on the more dewy side, so I really don't need the highlighter, but if I'm gonna have it, I'd rather it be exactly like that Merit highlighting balm. That is what I love, and moving forward, I don't really need to buy any more highlighters, really. That needs to be the only one that I have in my collection. But there are the 10 makeup products that I am no longer buying. Of course, there might be some exceptions that come along. I do love makeup. I do love trying new makeup. But for a lot of those categories, I already know nothing is going to come along that's going to make me change my mind, because I know that I will not get a lot of use out of it. There are some categories that I might bend a little, but I'm going to try not to. I'm not going to do that. I need to just stick with this list and not buy these products anymore, because I know they're going to go in my collection and I'm never going to use them again, when they could have went to somebody who would definitely get more use out of them than I can. But I do hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I hope you will please consider leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so you are alerted to all of my future uploads. And please follow me over on Instagram at Jessica Dearly, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!